What's up YouTube? Welcome back mi gente. This is Carlos from Boricua Tactical, just bringing you a video on a cool modification that you can make to your Safariland 6000 series holsters, which I think is pretty cool and gives you some options. So what are those options? I'll explain everything to you guys. So this is a Safariland holster, 6354 RDSO. Their newest holster in their lineup has the full kydex covering your optic. This is also set up for a weapon light. With Safariland, you have many options and abbreviations, etc. But you know, the 6354 series holsters are popular, whether it's an RDO or RDSO. The RDO has the plastic hood that pops up for your optic. The RDSO has full kydex all the way up. That's just the holster. But if you know about the holsters with Safariland, they are specific to the firearm that you purchase it for. Meaning this particular holster here is for a Sig P320 full size with an optic, with a holosun in my case, and a TRL, Streamlight TRL 1HL. Like I said, for my setup, which is right here, safe for the video purposes. So this is a P320 full size. That's what I got the holster for. Right now, these holsters, you know, aren't cheap, very well made, great holsters, but they run you almost 300 bucks when you add a camo covering and all that, etc. So the reason I'm making this video is to show you that, you know, you could have some options, meaning if you want to fit multiple firearms into this holster, there's a product made by OT Defense, which is called a multi-plug, and I'll explain everything, that allows you to change the plug sizes in order for you to be able to use different firearms in your one holster. If you go on OT Defense website, a guy's named over there, Mike, super cool dude, makes awesome products. They make other products for these holsters and modifications, which I'll do different videos on cool upgrades they have, but this is particular on the multi-plug. So if you go on his website, he has a lot for Glock. He'll show you the plugs, how you could get a holster for, let's say, a Glock 34 and adjust that plug system to fit a Glock 19, a Glock 17, and a 34, all in the same holster just by changing the plug. So I'll explain to you. This is the stock plug that comes in your Safariland holster. It's just a plastic plug that the barrel goes into. So when you holster it, that plug that's where your firearm sits, and that keeps your firearm pretty much in line with the ALS system and holds the firearm kind of in place. It's just a plastic piece. It does have your screw through it. Where did I do it with my screw? Oh, hold on 1 second. It does have a screw through it, right? Male screw and a female that holds it in place, and kind of like a little plastic dowel. Super easy to take out with a little pry bar. You take that main screw out, pop it out, and then kind of just flex the kydex a little bit, and that plug will pop out. Okay. Now, this is the stock Safariland plug. What Mike over at OT Defense does is he makes this plug here, right, which goes in place of that plug. Same main screw, but it also adds another little screw that comes supplied in it. And what it does is he has different size plugs that fit in there. If you see, you kind of pop it in. This is the lowest plug. It's an 050, but he makes a 0.635 high plug. He makes a 0.950 plug, and I'll show you what I mean by 9.5. If you look at that plug opposed to the plug I just took out, let me just pop it out for you. See how thin that plug is, and look how thick that plug is. The reason for the difference thickness in plugs is for the size of the firearms that you're having, because you know, the thin would be for the full size, but now that plug has to be bigger in order to fit a smaller firearm, i.e. like I'm going to show you with this Sig P320 X carry, right? The X carry has a 3.9 inch barrel. The full size has a 4.7 inch barrel, so longer firearm in length, right? We know that. So what's cool about this plug system is when you find the plug size, you just change the plugs out for the firearms. Meaning, I'll show you guys right now, for the purpose of keeping in the holster stock, which fits a full-size P320 full-size, you use the flattest plug that he makes, which is an 050. Now, if you look at the plug system, I'll show you guys how right here. It's just an aluminum piece, right? This is aluminum, and these plugs are made of, I believe, like Durlin, right? So like a nylon. So they could also be shaved down. Like, let's say you're kind of in between a one, you know, the 9.5 or the 6.35 is, you know, just a little too much. You could shave it down to fit the firearm that you have, okay? So you kind of play with them. That's the cool part of them. So he has this little hole in here where the plug fits right in, okay? And that plug sits in flush, just like that. Now, the flush part is important because that's what your firearm is gonna lay up against in order to work as the plug. Now, they're held in with this little tension screw. He gives you a small screw. It goes in from the one side if you're going, you know, you have multiple sides if you're going right or left. So as you put that screw in there, okay, and the key to this is it being flush, it holds that plug in place so that plug doesn't come out. All right, in the plug itself, if you look, I'll show you a different plug. He has a little cutout there. That screw sits in there, and that's what gives it the tension to hold the plug in place so it doesn't fall out and have movement. All right, so that's important because you don't want those plugs to fall out. I'll show you guys what I mean. As you tighten up that screw through it, it goes in that little crevice there and kind of just holds the plug in place. It holds it fine. There's no issues with that. So to keep it in stock form, I'm going to use the 50 plug, right? And I'm going to install it back in my Safariland holster. So you just line up the plug just the way you do from the factory, right? You use the female end here, kind of put it through just like that, okay? Takes a little bit. You kind of gotta wiggle it around a little bit and just find it so it goes right through. Okay, once I got that in place, I'm gonna show. All right, got that in place. Okay, you're gonna put your other screw through, kind of just start it in. Okay, and this is where you're gonna put your tension screw. Is gonna come in where that little dowel this little dowel that was on the stock plug, right? Now you have an opening for a screw. That's what's gonna hold the plug in place. So you kind of just have to line it up. Once you line it up and put that screw in place, I got it lined up. Start the screw, there you go. All right, now it's in there. Now that plug that I have in there won't fall out. The 050, right? It's in the holster, you see it right here. Okay, now I want to holster my full-size P320. It's set up for that. Holster it in, and this works perfect. In, out. Okay, but now I want to holster my P320 X carry. Okay, not a problem. Again, you remove the plug, take out the male, take out the female end. Remember that little screw that you just put in to hold the plug in place. You take it out. Now it's easier to just take out the whole plug than kind of undo this screw and try to, you know, fix it and put in the new plug, because it's hard to get in that holster. How are you going to go in there? So you kind of just pop out the multi-plug, pop out the 050, and I know from experience with and testing it that I need a 635 plug in order to work with my next firearm, which is the X carry. Okay? So I'm going to put that plug in there now. Okay, now I have my X3, the 635 plug, and now I'm going to again install the plug just as it goes in. Put the female end in first to line it up. You got it. Okay, got it there. I'm gonna put that in. Now the one thing is important is, like I was stating, is you want to make sure that that plug stays flush, meaning that this plug isn't coming out. So you just want to look in there, and mine came out a little bit, so what I do is just take a screwdriver and kind of just push the plug in flush, so it's completely, you know, completely sit in that multi-plug. All right, now I line it up. I'm going to put the screw back in, set that up. Put that screw back in. Make sure it's holding my plug in place. Everything is flush. You can feel it. Okay. Now I'm L6. Now I'm going to take my X carry, small gun, right in. ALS works. Okay. So what's cool about that is now with the same holster, I can run multiple firearms. Like I just went from a full size to an X carry, can change it to a compact, right? The compact and X carry are going to be the same. So once you know what these plugs are and you need, you could figure it out. Maybe you have, and let's say you had an X carry with a threaded barrel that's not quite 4.7, right? So the size, maybe that's when you need to take that 635 plug and sand it down a little bit and get it to where it works with that. So that's what's a cool thing about these multi-plugs from OT Defense, is you could customize it. If you have, like I said, a threaded barrel on a compact, which is going to bring it, you know, the barrel length a little more, you can mess around with that. These you could definitely shave down. Now the body of the multi-plug, no, it's aluminum, that stays. It's just the interchangeable plugs that you're putting in there that you could mess around with. And like I said, on his website he has the sizes. I have all the sizes here. He makes the 050 plug is pretty much if you're running like a full size with possibly a threaded barrel or a full size gun, is always going to be like the lowest plug, which is the 050. Then he makes a 635. He makes a 950. Okay, and then he makes a 145. Okay, that could be, you know, depending on the firearms, especially with Glock. He has a lot of information on Glock on his website. Not so many with Sig, which is one I wanted to make this video for you. But I think it's super cool that, you know, you don't have to buy a second holster for an X carry. I could just use my same holster for my full size and my P320. Now you say, okay, well, what if I go to get my full size? I can't. See, the full size won't fit now in there because that plug brought it out too much. See how I can't get the ALS to work? There's no retention there. That's part of the plug system. Obviously, my X carry will right in, working, right, it's in there. I released ALS to release it. But now I would, if I want to go back to that full size again, I would pop out screw, the main body screw which holds the plug in, take out the female end, male end, put that. And remember, with his supplied Allen key that he gives you, release the plug holder here and take it out. And now I would take this plug out, right, the 635 for the X carry, and put the thinnest plug, the 050, in for my full size and put it in. Again, just to show you guys how that plug system works. I'll get real close to the camera so you can kind of see it. It's just an aluminum, right? Just an aluminum plug. These two holes are where your male and female end of the holster goes, right? So you have the female end goes through there to hold it in place, and your male, that goes up here, okay? Just like that, right? And then your plug goes in. Remember, it has to be flush, because if it sticks out a little bit, obviously it's going to change the length of it. And also too, if it sticks out, that little set screw that holds it in place will not hold it in place because it's out. So just make sure that it's flush. You can't preset it because you have to put that screw in. So usually it stays in flush if you just go easy. But like I said, if it comes out of place, just go in with a long screwdriver in your holster to just hold, you know, to just make sure that's flat and flush and you feel it from the backside. then put in your screw. All right, so let's just install to get back to stock with my full-size P320. Let's put that plug back in. One more time. I like to just start it in from this end first, because that way it holds it in. So what I do is I start and I put the female end first, kind of through the holes just to guide it. Got it in. Okay. Start my male end through the other side, kind of just start it in. All right, got it started. And now I look for that hole and I make sure that the plug is flush. Plug is flush. Oops, dropped it. Got it there. Yep. All right, tighten that up. All right, now she's set up for my full size, not the X carry, going to my full size. There she is, ALS is in. Lock it. Perfect. Again, super cool from OT Defense. Check them out. If you have any questions, hit up Mike. He always answers questions. Super cool dude, super cool company. They have tons of other modifications for the holsters, which I'll go into separate videos on that. I kind of just wanted to talk about this multi-plug and give you options. I know that there is people that take out the stock plug from the Safariland holster altogether, and that'll work fine for, like, if I was to take out the plug, I could still holster my full size, but I wouldn't be able to go to my X carry. There's just going to be too much play in there, too much slop. The ALS might hold it into place, but it's just not gonna work the way it's intended. So these multi plugs are super cool for that. If you want to run one holster throughout, let's say you have Glocks and you want to buy one holster and you have a 34, a 17, and a 19, or you have a 17 and a 45. Buy it for the 17. Obviously, the holster has to be on the bigger end for this to work. I think with Safariland, they make the same holster sizes for that. But like I said, I would get it. If this was a Glock 17 holster, I would just put in the plug, smaller plug, run a G45 or a G19, run the thinner plug to run my stock G17. Same with the Sig, like I just showed you. This is for a full-size P320, and now we could run an X carry or a compact. It gives you some versatility there. And check him out. Also, he supports the videos, so there's a code. It's BT6, gives you some percentage off to save a few bucks on the products. I'll write it in the video for Boricua Tactical. So we'll go over there and support Mike and his awesome products at OT Defense BT6. They are running a great sale right now, which is better than this code for Black Friday. But if you miss Black Friday and you're purchasing at a different date, use the BT6 code that I'll put in the video to save you guys some bucks. And check out all the other options that he has for holsters. Safariland, he has stuff for US duty gear holsters, etc. On that note, they don't make the multi-plug, I don't think, yet for the US duty gear holsters. I believe he's working on it. This is just for the Safariland 6000 series holsters. So mind you on that, if you're running a US duty gear, he has some modification stuff on the website for US duty gear, but not the multi-plug as of yet. So check them out. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Be safe out there, guys. Later.